whatever you want to call me. I'm known by a lot of different characters on Twitch, but this is my new project, and what we're doing is we're interviewing cosplayers. During the quarantine time, a lot of cosplayers are having anxiety from not being able to go to cons because they're being shut down all the time. And with me today is Gus Matos from Heroes United AZ, and also put on the Cape, a charitable organization. Um, so, welcome, Gus.
Thanks for having me.
So, we'll just jump right into the first question. How did you discover cosplaying to begin with?
Uh, I like to refer to myself as a late in life cosplayer. I've been going to Comic Cons. Well, just to let everybody know, I'll be 47 next week on the 25th. So I'm an elder cosplayer. I used to go to cons ever since I was like 12 years old when I first started to fall in love with comic books. But then what happened was, fast forward years later, uh, it was 2020, 2010. My daughters, I had just become a single dad because, well, their mom and I split, and I wanted to try to do something fun with them on the weekends I had them, and it just so happened that Amazing Comic 2010, when it was back at the Mason, and so we went, we had a good time, so it kind of rekindled my love to go to the con and all that. Just before that, I don't know if you remember Atomic Comic,
Hmm.
that when they went to the mall, they had a supervillain day. So they said, "Oh, come in costume." So I didn't really know what cosplay was. You know, they just said come in costume. So I didn't, but I made two costumes for my daughters. They were big into the time to Teen
Okay.
Titans Go.
Yep.
Well, it was Teen Titans then. Yeah. So one was Terra, the other was Jinx. So
Okay.
I kind of made their costumes from stuff I found at Goodwill and what have you. So they loved it. And then what happened was, fast forward, I went to a Phoenix Comic Con back when it just moved to the Phoenix Convention. I
Okay.
had a friend who was already a well-known cosplayer, and he asked me to go with him. We threw together for myself a Wolverine costume. It was, the leather jacket. I already had the long hair in the side, and he gave me a pair of claws, so I was Wolverine. So that's what introduced me to cosplay. And just at the very first convention, I got to meet Stan Lee. So,
Oh,
you know, yeah, I got a photo that still hangs up with him. So it was a big deal for me because I mean I've loved Stan Lee since I was 12 years old.
of course, of course. So, would you say Wolverine was your first cosplay then?
That was my first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before that, when I was a kid, of course, I dressed up in costumes. But the very first cosplay you can say I did was Wolverine.
Nice. So, what are your next three cosplay plans, or how I would like to adjust it is, what's your next three cosplay events or ideas with what you do with Heroes United AZ and put on the cape?
Well, hopefully our next event. Well, actually, we have an event currently going on for Put on the Cape. It was we were supposed to have our 5K back in March. It would be our second annual 5K, and it was really cool. We were going to have a Batman theme this year. Last year was Captain America, obviously. But then this year we're going to do a Batman theme. Everybody got a medallion, a Batman theme medallion and T-shirt.
Nice.
But what happened was we had to go virtual, well, virtual 5K. So people can still do it. They can still go online, register at putonthecape.org through Eventbrite, and then what they'll do is they can complete the 5K in the time they want, or they can do a donation, and they'll get their T-shirt and medal sent out to them. That's our current one. Our next one, we're hoping, if everything goes well, for September. There's two of them that coincide, so those will be 2 and 3. We have something called the Super Kickoff. Basically, for the month of September, we do something called Hero September, where we do a donation drive for superhero T-shirts, action figures. We go on shopping sprees that are sponsored through different organizations, and we go through Target or Walmart, or whoever will have us. We'll hopefully try to get a partnership with Five Below this year, and
Nice.
we go in there and we just shop. They give us an amount that we can do, and we get everything from superhero T-shirts, action figures, diapers, formula. Because just to give you a backstory, Put on the Cape. What we do is um, we help uh, we help support four different advocacy centers. And now advocacy centers, what they do is they help kids who have been victimized by abuse, whether it be physical or sexual abuse. And a lot of times these advocacy centers don't really have a lot of supplies because they go by donations. They're not really funded by the government. So they rely on donations. So what we do is every September we do a big huge drive, but all year we actually also donate. Can donate any time of year. It just doesn't have to be September.
Yeah.
So along with Superhero September, we're doing our second annual golf. It's I always forget the name of it. Oh, it's where basically you get a 4-man team together. Whoever hits the longest ball, that's what you play off. So it's not your traditional type of tournament. It's a scramble. Just thought of the word. It's a golf scramble.
Golf scramble.
Last year we were fortunate to be able to do our first one. Sold out. There's 120 golfers there. We started at 7 a.m. and it was incredible to be our first big event like that, and it sold out. That was awesome to see. Last year for our 5K, we actually had over 400, which Brett, the gentleman who helped us establish it, he also helped establish Mud Run.
Yeah.
He said first year 4Ks might get 100 people, maybe.
Yeah.
We were able to get 4, so that was a huge deal for
400.
But yeah, those are our next few events.
Nice. And so, have you ever been in a cosplay contest? Since you're new to the cosplay scene.
Well, it's 10 years now, but as a competitor, no. Yeah, as a competitor, no. I've done mostly hosting, MC. The reason why is because ever since I started, I kind of been more of the community charity side of cosplay.
Okay.
So I never really had the desire to enter costume contest. I just wanted to serve the community. So, but because I'm a extreme extrovert and I'm very outgoing, a lot of the people I have friends within the organization of Phoenix Comic Con and Tucson Comic Con and even Amazing Comic Con, and they gave me the opportunity to be an MC. Kind of steamrolled from there, and I've been doing a lot of them. I haven't done one in a few years, but I'm more on the MC side of it.
Nice. So you run the masquerade then, you would say?
Not the one at Phoenix Comic Con. That's a dream. I hope one day, but because the guy they currently have it, the guy from the 501st, the Stormtrooper, he's been doing it since 2001.
Yeah. Yeah.
When he decides to retire, maybe they'll pick me.
There you go. So, do you make your own costumes?
I'm sorry.
No, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was incorrect. I actually have competed in one.
Oh,
the reason why I didn't say it because it wasn't. It was a costume group. It was a collaborative.
Okay.
Dave Cat Santiago out of New York, who's a good friend. I met him through Facebook, and I met him in person back in 2010, New York Comic.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm born and raised in New York, so I got to go to New York Comic Con 2000, meet a lot of the cosplayers that I have. But anyway, he had the idea. He wanted to do the Inhumans.
Okay.
So he was invited because he's very well known in competing in costumes.
Yeah.
Quite a few of them. He wanted to do an Inhumans cosplay for his mascot. So I was Gorgon in Inhumans.
Nice.
So
Okay.
It slipped my mind, but yeah, that's the only one I did. And I was fortunate enough to do it with some of my best friends because it was the Fantastic Four versus the Inhumans. And Johnny Carwell, who's my second with Heroes United, was one of them, and my daughter. So it was kind of
very nice.
Cool because it was a family collaborative. Yeah.
So it was like a friends and family collaborative. That was really nice.
Oh yeah. And it was great because I got the only ooh, I think, in the history of Phoenix. Well, because we were doing a skit where it was a fight. And since I have a background in wrestling and stunt work, I decided to take a huge fall. And I fell, I jumped up and fell probably about 3 feet.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that the stage had no bounce, no give. So I felt like solid, and you hear this big boom, and all you hear is the crowd go, oh. It's like, yeah. Video's on YouTube somewhere.
I'm sure it is. We'll make sure we link that. So, do you make your own cosplays? Do you prefer sewing, armor making, wig working, or
I've made a few. I've made a few in the past. Um, I like to collaborate with
like
other
you said,
people.
your
I
kids' cosplays you made from
Yeah,
stuff from
yeah, I made those.
Goodwill.
I've bought a lot of the majority of mine.
Yeah.
Uh, I I I'm not the traditional cosplayer that says, oh no, if you don't make everything. No, it's about having the fun of doing it.
No,
Whether
yeah.
it's bought, whether it's made. I did make my Deathstroke costume that I made a few years back. I made three of them all for one Comic Con. It was Deathstroke, Snake Eyes from GI Joe,
Okay.
and Nightwing.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So, what type of
So yeah,
character do you think you cosplay frequently? Would you say like Captain America is your number one? Your number one go to?
yeah, yeah. And it's funny because number one go to. I actually have five different Captain America. Uh, a lot of them
That's a lot.
generously donated by friends, because since we are a 501c3 nonprofit, if you do donate, say, a costume to one of us, it's a write-off,
It's yeah.
taxable, but
It's a
it's a
donation.
donation.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. A lot of our members too, they can do it all, but that's not why they do it. But it's just
Of
a
course.
benefit of being a 501c3.
Well,
But as far as
yeah. Sorry.
I don't know, I'm saying as far as the go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, Heroes United and Put on the Cape. You guys help a lot with Special Olympics and with children from abusive homes and everything like that, and it's
Mhm.
really good. So for people to donate to your charities, they're doing a good service.
Right. Well, yeah, because a lot of the proceeds that people donate go all to the advocacy center. I don't want to say 100% because we do have administrative stuff that we
Of
pay for,
course,
but we have no overhead because we don't have any off. All of our board members are volunteers. All of our team members are volunteers. So pretty much the majority of it goes towards these advocacy centers. And of course, there's costs like buying the medals for the 5K and things like that.
of
But
course.
besides that, everything goes to the kids.
Nice, very nice. So, do you have any favorite cosplays? Of course, Captain America is one of them,
Yeah.
because that's your trademark.
Captain America I came into by accident. I
Mhm.
never intended to be him. But I fell back because I used to love reading Captain America when I was a kid. It was one of my favorites. My top three were Spider-Man, X-Men, and Captain America. Well, Batman. Batman and Captain America were kind of a tie.
Nice.
Uh, yeah,
Two different
but I felt,
areas, though. Whew.
yeah. So I fell into Captain America because I was the head of a different cosplay group, and they had asked us to do a hospital visit at the Maricopa. They asked if there was a Captain America available. Our Captain America at the time, fortunately, wasn't. So I said, well, I guess I can try to figure something out. It all fell together like in a week. It was kind of a homemade Captain America costume. It was more like comic. A friend of mine who's a great seamstress. She goes by Maze Designs on Facebook. Gabby, she's incredible when it comes to making costumes. And
Nice.
she put the shirt together for me, basically out of Under Armour type material. And I was fortunate enough to find a long sleeve white undershirt, which really easy to find. And then I had everything but a mat. And I told myself, all right, I'm going to go over to, at the time it was called Bubbles of Joy, unfortunately closed down. It was Groovy Goo. I said, if they have the Captain America mat, if I go there, the very last one they had, I bought. I was like,
Nice.
I guess it's destined to be. So I did the hospital visit. It was a hit. So I just started doing him more and more frequently. And
Nice.
here we are 10 years, well, about 8 years later in five costumes. So I guess,
Yeah.
but besides him, Batman. I
Batman.
love to do Batman. I have currently a Batman versus, and it's probably my favorite to do.
Nice. So, would you say you've created detailed cosplays before, like or had one made where it's very detailed?
Uh, I guess my most detailed is again going back to Captain America. I have
Yeah.
one by this company called White Sheep Leather. They're probably the best at making Captain America costumes, and their
That
costumes.
must be hot inside of that suit.
Actually, no, because it's made from Cordera.
Okay.
It breathes a lot. It breathes a lot. It's not made from your tactical tool, which those are hot. I had one like that, and it was.
Yeah, because I remember talking to a Deadpool over at Fan Fusion one time, and he's like, "It's just a pool inside of here right now." Yeah.
Those are some. Yeah, I've had a couple like that. I had when I was doing Wolverine, I had the X-Men movie Wolverine,
Okay.
black motorcycle outfit.
Yep.
Yeah, I lost a few pounds wearing that. So
There you go. Yeah. So, so building cosplays or putting them together, like what are some tips that you can give when trying to put together a cosplay?
Be creative. Don't let other people's opinions and views stifle you. Because there's some people who put like their own twist on costumes, and I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the biggest thing is find resources. There's a lot of people that will give you advice. Find like, for example, I'm part of two on Facebook. One's called The Evolution of Captain America, and then the other one is called Becoming Batman. And there's a lot of guys on there. They'll give you a lot of advice, how they put theirs together, what they use, stuff like that. So always try to find help. Especially if it's your first one, don't think that you have to do everything.
Yeah. One thing I've heard in the past is the older I get, the more detailed my cosplays become because of the money factor.
That's the thing. Yeah, it is expensive. However, there's a lot of ways that you can kind of, especially if you're first starting out, Goodwill. Goodwill's a great resource. My Deathstroke armor, it was a motocross armor that I found at Goodwill. And then I just modified it with EVA foam, and it was pretty legit. If you look on my Facebook armor, on my Facebook, did away with my Instagram, but if you look on my Facebook, there's some old pictures of me at Deathstroke. I made like what I'm wearing.
Very nice. So, your favorite cosplay you've done, toss up between Batman and Captain America. But do you have a worst like cosplay horror story? Have you ever had that moment where your cosplay just falls apart mid con or? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's happened a few times. One time on one of my caps, the zipper busted in the back, and then another time I was when I first made that Snake Eyes costume.
Mm-hmm.
One of the straps that I had holding it together completely broke. We had to emergency repair it. It's common, so yeah, it's kind of.
Yeah. Well, you had to run those cosplay medics.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Well, we always try to have at our booth or with someone have what we call a first aid kit. So.
Yeah. No, it is true. So many stories of cosplays just falling apart mid con, and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So
we had an event where, remember, I'm not going to say who it was. He kind of split his pants open. That was fun.
Yeah. Well, it's you eat too much food at the con, You have too much fun.
He was trying to dance and he squatted in it.
Yeah. I heard of a story where this person was posing for a picture with a little kid one time, and it just went, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, what am I gonna do?" Yeah. So, what would be your funniest cosplay story? Something that happened and you just like rolling of laughter, because of course with Heroes United and Put on the Cape, I'm sure you have a lot of funny horror story, type of thing. But what would you say made you chuckle the most?
The funniest story. Well, I really don't have a funny story because I just can't think of one right now. But wait, there was one. It was we were up doing a photo shoot. It was a Star Wars photo shoot up in Flagstaff.
Okay.
It was snowing a lot, and so one of the guys had a Chewbacca costume. So he took off his belt, and we took pictures of him as Bigfoot in Flagstaff. So I was laughing so hard because he did the whole, that old video of Bigfoot that's all blurred, and
the one that was like walking.
Yeah, we made one of those, and it was pretty funny. It made me laugh really hard.
Nice. Yeah, that was
he was all for it.
So, what is one of your favorite character interactions you've had with, like, maybe with the kids or with other people? What do you think is like the one that is best for you, or one of the best?
I have a couple that are kind of it's been twice with the same person, believe it or not. One of them, Rob Liefeld. I was once dressed as X-Force Deadpool at Amazing Comic Con, and as I was walking by, he stopped. He had a line of about 20 people. He stopped me and wanted to take a selfie with me.
Wow.
Well, and it turned out to be a picture, not just a selfie. It was a picture.
Yeah.
And then a few days later, on his Facebook, a collage of him thanking Amazing Comic Con. It was that picture. So that was exciting. And then the second time at Vegas Comic Con 2006, let's say, at Amazing Las Vegas Comic Con, which happened to be my birthday weekend too, so it was kind of cool. Yep. And again, as I was walking by, but this time I was Cable.
Okay, Cable.
That's one of my favorite ones I do too, is Cable.
Nice.
And as I was walking by, he stopped me again. Again, he had a line of about 20 people, and he wanted to get another picture with me, which then he posted his Instagram. So I was kind of
wow.
As far as with the kids go, there was when I first kind of started doing Captain America, we were working with a group that helped children who are spend a lot of time in the hospital, called Hope.
What?
It was called Children.
Okay.
Hope. Yeah. Okay. And what they do is they help families of ill children get out and do stuff. Because especially when they have siblings, because a lot of these families, they spend so much time at the hospital that the siblings of those kids kind of felt like put aside because they don't get to do anything fun because they're usually with their sibling in the hospital.
Yeah.
So they'll do something where they rent out a whole movie theater. And this one just happened to be at the Ultra Star up in Scottsdale, and it was they were going to see Iron Man 3. And so Iron Man and myself, as Captain America, went down there to say hi to the kids before they go and see the movie.
Oh.
There was a little boy. He couldn't been any more than, I think, he was 4 years old, but he looked like he was 2.
Mm-hmm.
He was really small. And he couldn't really walk. And his mom was carrying him, but when he saw me, he kicked so she could put him down, and he came running to me, hugged me. And I was like, when she told me that, she goes, she told me that he can barely walk. When he saw me, he ran over. It was like, it was inspiring because it knows that people may criticize a cosplayer for their costume or their costume skills, line, and all that. But it's moments like that when you interact and it's that heartfelt that makes it all worth it. My girlfriend at last year's kickoff, I almost teared up because this little girl walks over to her and she was dressed as Captain Marvel. Mm-hmm. And she told her, "You're my favorite girl superhero." And she was like in awe. You could see like she was just in awe of her. And I was like, all right, that's what makes it.
Yeah. Yeah, that does make it worth it with a lot of cosplayers. It's the children that, like, their reactions, their smiling faces is like, oh my gosh, it was like, it's very touching.
Yeah.
So, have you you said you cosplayed together over at Phoenix Fan Fusion with your daughter, right? And how was that experience?
That's awesome. My daughter, we've actually done 2 costumes together. 2. She was also, the first time I did Cable, she was Hope.
Okay, nice.
So, and then the other time she was Crystal from the Inhumans, and I was Gorgon. So she enjoys it too. She actually
Nice.
has a couple of her own. She has a Harley Quinn,
Nice.
and she also has a Batgirl costume. So
That's cool. That's cool. I know my kid was like, I'm gonna do my cosplay and you do your cosplay. I'm like, but we could team up. And it's like, no.
well, she actually enjoys it more when we do it together.
Yeah, exactly. The whole making the costumes and putting them together experience. It's fun. Yeah.
Yep.
So, what is your favorite cosplay photo of yourself? Now that's the hard question because we're always our own worst critic. You know.
Yeah.
I know that
Well,
I used the one that you sent to me with you as Captain America and the little boy.
right.
You know.
One of my favorite ones is actually when I met that kid that I just told the story about.
Yeah.
There's where he's hugging me.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a picture of it, and I have it on my Facebook. It's
Nice.
one of my favorite ones. There's another one where there's a young boy that we met named Marcus. His father reached out to me, and he asked if a couple of the superheroes, because he's one of the UNICEF kids. If you go into Circle K, his is actually on their donation,
Nice.
and his dad reached out to me and said, any way that a couple of you guys can see him for his birthday. We ended up going with 25 people. He didn't.
Wow.
So
nice.
So yeah, so meeting Marcus, his name is Marcus, and he was just a great kid, and he was just over. It was a picture of him, myself, and Johnny. Johnny's Patriot from Marvel Comics, and I'm Captain
Mm-hmm.
with him. Then a friend of ours, Ben Gildetti, one of the local comic book artists. He turned it in an art piece.
Oh, very nice.
It's great.
Very nice. So, what are your go-to stores for cosplay materials? You mentioned Goodwill. Is a good
Goodwill
place.
is a big one.
Is a big one.
Goodwill, you got to come sometimes use your imagination, but you. As far as materials go, I'm a fan of Joann's, Sass, and Michaels for a little bit other things, but
accessories probably.
Yeah, right now a lot of the stuff you can buy online. I know a lot of people don't want to go out to stores, but you can buy a lot online. But also, they're coming out with lines because people are benefiting now because they're coming out with lines of VA foam and stuff like that. And another place that a lot of us school cosplayers, I guess I'm one of those, is Harbor Freight.
Harbor Freight. Mm-hmm.
They're inexpensive. You can get EVA for $10.
Now, would you say it's easier to work with EVA foam, or I've heard there's Warbler as well?
Right. Well, there's Sintra, which is basically PVC, but in sheet form.
Okay.
Then there's Warbler, super expensive, and there's EVA. I recommend if somebody's just starting out and they're just getting their feet wet, to use EVA. One, because it's cheap.
Yeah.
So if you make mistakes.
Yeah.
And also craft foam. Two, it's relatively easy to shape.
Yes.
With a heat gun. And then three, you can pretty much almost make any. Sintra is the next one, which is a little bit more expensive, but it's not as expensive as Warbler. The reason why Warbler, a lot of more experienced people use it is because once you form Warbler, that's it. And secondly, it's also we live in a state where it gets to 100. If you leave Warbler in your car, or if you by mistake, even in the trunk of your car, or if you even walking around, I've seen some, it'll actually warp. So
whoa, that's not good.
Yeah, where EVA foam not so much, but even if EVA foam, like I had a Power Ranger, the Tiger Ranger shield, in the trunk of my car, and it came apart because it was so hot. But since it's EVA, you can just glue it back together.
Very nice. So, do you prefer to buy pre-styled wigs now? Like now, I don't know if you've ever worn a wig before.
I really don't like wearing wigs.
Yeah.
It's the very rare occasion I will. It's just not my thing. There's been twice where I've worn a wig out in public. Only one, which is for Jon Snow.
Okay.
And I bought that one already, and it's not really hard to style because it's curly.
Yeah, it's curly.
The second one is I'm currently working on, still in the kind of in between phase, is The Witcher.
The Witcher, Geralt of Rivia.
Yeah.
Nice.
Geralt, yeah. Geralt. So, well, yeah. My girlfriend's a huge fan, and she makes an amazing The Witch.
Yennefer.
Yennefer. She makes an awesome Yennefer. That's her favorite character. So I said I'd do.
There you go. There you go.
And so I kind of styled the wig, but it's not really the Witcher wig. It's just one that I had.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to modify it myself, or I'm gonna probably try to get one that I can style better.
Okay.
That'll be the only second time I wear a wig. I'm not really a fan. Actually, not true. I have one more wig.
One more wig.
It's for Aquaman.
Aquaman. Oh yeah, of course. You can't. No one can rock that hair naturally, man. Seriously. That's a hard one. So
yeah. Well, Aquaman's another. It's just like a curly surfer mess. So it's.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you So, have you ever had someone mistaking you for a different character before? Well, of course not with Captain America or Batman. It's like really known.
You'd be surprised how many people don't know Captain.
Really?
It was shocking. Yeah, it was shocking to me. Well, it's more people that are not into pop culture or maybe haven't even seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movies or anything like that. Yeah, it's true.
I was called Mr. America.
Mr. America. Nice.
Yeah. So, but for the most part, no, not really, because most of the costumes that I've done are not what you call, they're not obscure. Not that I wouldn't do one like that. It's just forgotten. Pretty much people didn't know, but they didn't try to call.
Nice. So far we have Wolverine, Captain America, Batman, Aquaman.
What? Mm-hmm. Jon Snow,
Cable, and then Deadpool, and then the Inhumans character. Gorgon.
I've actually done a Warhammer too. I don't know the game. It was a friend of mine. He wanted to make a group, so we did Warhammer. So I had the big armor on.
So roughly, you're looking at around 10 to 15 cosplays that you've done.
20.
20? About 20?
Yeah.
Whew.
Altogether, yeah.
Yeah, altogether. Because you've been doing it for 10 years, you said, right?
10 years, yeah, because there was also Snake Eyes, Nightwing, and, Deathstroke.
Okay.
One of my favorites. Deathstroke kind of one of my favorites, too. I don't really do villains.
Okay.
I've also done Man of Steel, Superman, Shazam. Last year at Phoenix Comic Con, I was
Shazam.
So the only villain I think I've actually Kylo Ren. So I guess you could consider him.
Ren. Yeah, everybody says that Kylo Ren was amazing when he had the helmet on, but when he took the helmet off, he was like, "What?" That kind of scary.
I wouldn't put him in my top 10 of attractive people, but anyway.
He's like, he's not scary anymore.
No, he looks like your next door neighbor's kid.
Right. Exactly. So, what's the biggest con you've cosplayed at, or with Heroes United, or with Put on the Cape? Would say
the biggest convention would have to be New York Comic Con.
New York Comic Con.
There was literally thousands and thousands of people up there. It was like you could only do the old man walk. You know the old man walk where you're just like taking half a step instead of a whole step.
Yeah.
That's a lot of weirdest stories. Yeah, that's what I have one of my weirdest stories.
Yeah.
There was a guy walked. I had this Wolverine chops. I used to grow up my chops, and a guy walks up to me and goes, "Face." Yeah.
It's like, is that your face? It's like, yeah. What's wrong with it?
He wanted to touch my face.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Like because you have the mutton chops, man. Of course.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people have to glue that stuff on.
Yeah, no, I usually try to grow my facial hair myself. Like, I dabble. If you go on my TikTok at Captain America AZ,
Yeah,
uh, I have a bunch of them where I'm Tony Stark.
yeah.
That's that's one I've been trying to get into.
Don't you guys
Hoping to have
have
an eye.
Tony Stark for Put on the Cape, the Arizona Tony Stark or something?
No, he's not. He's not part of our group.
Oh, I thought he was part of it.
But we do have an Iron Man. But I'm
Nice.
working actually on one. Is I'm hoping to have one by the end of the year.
Yeah, I saw a cosplay one time on Full Armor, FullBodyArmor.com or something, and it's
Yeah,
$5 grand, but it's an amazing
yeah.
suit.
The,
um,
the best ones I've seen are by them, and he goes on social media as Raw,
yeah, okay,
real awesome works,
yeah,
and he does some amazing armor. Some of the best ones I saw was years ago. There was a guy named City, I can't remember his last name. He would make it from garbage,
okay,
like the plastic garbage cans, the big ones.
nice.
Yeah, and he would buy a few of those and just cut it up and then rivet all the parts.
Well, yeah, if you have the pattern to anything, it doesn't matter what you make it out of, as long as you make it and make it your own.
They're stepped it up huge now. Now it's like high density EVA foam. What they do is they coat it with it's a paint that people use for fences,
Okay,
so it hardens. Either that or they use two-part epoxy. Not
okay.
epoxy, but it's two-part,
Is it
and they put it on the
plastic dip?
outside.
I think.
No, this plastic would only give it like a coating.
Oh,
This
Cody.
stuff actually hardens.
Oh, wow.
This actually hardens it and makes it like plastic. And then they use automotive paint. Like there's a guy locally here named Poppy Miranda. He's awesome with and when he paints an iron, he does just use powder coat like cars.
Oh, wow. That's very nice.
Gives it that big shine.
So, do you prefer cosplaying characters with props or characters you don't need to carry around a prop all day?
I prefer not with props, but again, the main one I do is Captain America.
And of course, you
But
have to
I
have the
found it
shield.
great. You have to have the shield. Now, at first, I used to carry the shield all day. And my first shield was actually a converted snow sled,
Oh, wow.
the round disc red snow sleds.
Okay.
So that, and it weighs probably about 10 pounds. So you carry around 10 pounds all day, kind of. But so now I use a magnet,
Okay.
strap it, and I just strap it to my back.
Nice.
Normally the guys when they have the Captain America, the back is usually sometimes plastic, metal, but I actually had made it out of sheet metal locally. His guy, he runs Garage Effects.
Nice.
He made one of metal, and I have a high powered earth magnet, so I just slap it to my back. It's on it.
And it works.
Easier now.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot easier than just holding it up with like, okay. Yeah.
Well, I actually got smart. I got rid of it. I still have that shield, but I put it around when Hasbro came out with this great shield behind
Oh,
it.
the Hasbro one from GameStop? Yeah.
Yeah, the Black Series.
Uh-huh.
I actually at the time I picked it up at Toys R Us.
Okay.
It's great. I mean, they make great stuff and to the shield, so it's a bit lighter.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like not so heavy on your back and everything. So have you ever? What?
I think I spent $1,000 on a shield. I'm not a baller.
Yeah. No, I have a friend who told me that she has a mold to make a Captain America shield, and she makes them all for her friends and everything. And I said, "Am I a friend?" And she's like, "Yes, of course." I'm like, "Yes." And it was like,
well, maybe her and I should be friends too.
yeah, right. I know exactly. She has like the mold for it and everything. And so, have you ever lost a cosplay piece at a con, where a part of your costume fell off? And you're like, "Oh, what happened to my leg strap?" Or
Yes.
yeah.
It was on my Batman costume. I had the grapple gun from Batman versus Superman.
Darn.
And it fell off. Yeah, it fell off at an event. I couldn't find it. But it was okay because what I did was I like to repurpose things. So I bought the ones from Ruby's.
Oh, okay.
You know, they come in orange and white.
Yep.
So
Mm.
I bought it and then repainted it and made it look like the.
Yeah,
Not that it was okay, I lost it, but it was like
yeah, it's like
at least I didn't pay a couple $100 for it.
right. No, I've had cosplayers tell me before that they've lost like a product that cost them $100. I'm like, oh no, that's
Oh no,
not. No, don't ever do that again. No,
no, no.
one speaking of like repurposing things, I was shocked on how realistic toy guns are nowadays. And I found this one gun that you could basically take it apart and and then you have a Glock and you can
Mm-hmm.
go and it makes that sound
Yeah.
and then goes and it sounds like a gun. I'm like, oh, I don't want to touch that.
Well, I actually have a couple of those,
Yeah.
and I just recently got another one that it's when you shoot it, the shells fly out.
Oh wow, wow.
Um, when I was a kid, we had cap guns, and
Yeah.
some of them looked real, and they were actually die cast metal. But
Yep.
of course, they stopped making those because people were silly,
Yeah.
and they get in trouble for them. But nowadays, yeah, I mean, especially airsoft, a lot of people go with airsoft guns, and they look very real.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, with all the cons now banning guns, it's really hard to get a good cosplay that doesn't have a gun. And you're like,
Yeah,
okay, how can I make this not look like a gun? Because that's with Phoenix Fan Fusion, the rule is if it looks like a gun, you can't bring it in.
well, yeah. Unfortunately, it's not their rule because
It's the
it's the
convention
Phoenix Convention Center
Mm-hmm.
and the city of Phoenix. Yeah, a lot of people blame them for it.
No,
It's not fair because
yeah,
it's
it's
not their
never
rule.
the organizer's fault for these rules.
Right,
It's always the
right.
city because the city ordinances and everything. I agree.
Exactly, because people have to understand they're renting the space. It's
Hmm.
like you renting an apartment, and then your friends come in and go, "Hey, let's break down this wall." We don't know. My landlord's really not going to want that. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Kind of the same deal. They're only renting the center. It's not theirs.
Yeah,
So they have to go by the rules of the contract.
yeah.
And it was an unfortunate incident. I actually was in the building that day when that happened. Fortunately,
That's not fun.
and I try to explain to a lot of people they're putting a stop to bringing at least, and I hate to say this, at least we're not spending that time commemorating or memorializing something worse that happened.
Yeah, exactly. Because for those who don't know, uh, it was 2018,
16,
16,
18, 18, 18,
yeah,
18.
2018, where a man came to Phoenix Fan Fusion with a weapon, and like it was a Glock,
He had two loaded guns.
two loaded
Two
guns.
loaded guns. Yeah.
Thankfully,
He
no
said
one
he
was
getting
shot.
cut. Yeah. Well, what happened was because I know some people that run this comic.
Mm.
He was stalking a singer out of California, and kind of like the dude with Jodie Foster back in the '80s who shot Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
He wanted to prove to her how much he cared about her, so he was going to try to shoot Jason David Frank.
Yeah.
And but he kept messaging her and taking pictures of like police officers and all that, and telling her, well, maybe I'll shoot them first, and maybe this. And she got a hold of somebody who she knows here, and he was able to get the police. And what people don't know is there's a lot of Phoenix police officers inside the building in the convention center that are
Yes.
plain clothes
Yes.
for security, and they were able to find him because they sent pictures of him to police officers that were there, and they were able to
Nice.
stop him before anything happened. And I give them all the props in the world for taking
Yeah.
care of that and making sure that nobody was hurt. But like I said, it's not the conventions.
Yeah.
And if they're putting new security measures in place, like metal detectors and things like that, and checking everyone's bag, that's not their call.
No.
Unfortunately, it's an added expense to them,
Yeah.
but it's not their call. It's unfortunate they can't do that, and it's a side effect of what happened. But I see it as kind of like when you go to the airport, people
Yes.
complain because they have to take their shoes off, their belt off, and all this.
Yeah.
I see it as a benefit because
Hey,
I know
you're
I'm going to get on that
protecting me.
airplane. Exactly. You're checking everybody, so that's cool by me.
keep it up, right? Yes.
Yeah.
So have you ever like what's the most expensive thing you've purchased for your cosplay? Would you say?
Most expensive?
Yeah. We're just like, whew,
Uh,
that was expensive.
one of my first movie Captain America costume, which was from well, which one? Age of Ultron,
Okay.
the Age of Ultron Captain America costume,
Mhm.
which I bought from one of the guys from the Evolution of Captain America. Dan, he's out of New York. He's a great captain. Uh, it was $500.
Okay. Yeah.
I never thought in my life that I would spend $500 in costume.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
try to be I try to be frugal for
Yeah.
costume.
Oh, it's always natural to be frugal. You have to be frugal because
Yeah.
for those who are pulling out like 20 cosplays a year, you're you're just like
Yeah.
wow. And
Yeah.
we're looking at a Doctor Strange cosplay right now, and we're looking just at the material alone for Doctor Strange, and it's running us roughly $200 to $300 for
Oh yeah.
just the material.
Just the
And
fabric. Well,
yeah,
that's a good quality fabric there
that's where
too.
you
So
get that's where you get crazy things. Is like you can't believe that the material alone will cost that much money, and you're like, okay, that's just the
well,
material. Now we have to make the cosplay.
it's like you said before though. I mean, there's some Iron Man costumes that cost upwards of $5,000. There's a Deadpool costume. I forget the maker of it, but they're on Instagram. They average their costumes about $6,000.
Yeah, I
For
saw a
Deadpool costume.
cosplay company that makes Ninja Turtles. Uh,
Oh yeah,
and this
like
the
for the movie. Yeah,
yeah,
those are.
and whew, they're like $3,000 to $4,000.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
one of
yikes.
the heads alone is like $500.
Yeah, and I was like, phew. It's like, yeah, that's kind of crazy, but you know what? You have to admit that they're buying the material and they're putting that labor in, and anybody
Yep.
who's made a cosplay knows the painstaking process it can take. But of course,
Well,
some people
especially
are
with
like
full.
really talented and can whip them out.
Yeah,
But whew.
especially with full body costumes like that because they're latex.
Hmm.
So what they have to do is sculpt it, mold it, pour, then make the parts. So
Yeah,
it's a lot of work.
exactly. So do
Like
you?
those Iron Mans can take up for them.
Yeah, could take a long time, months. So do you prefer to cosplay solo, or would you say you're more of a group cosplayer?
I've done both. I It's fun to do it in a group. Like one time, Johnny. Uh,
Mhm.
again, I'm older, so I don't know any of these things. He's a huge fan of Legend of Korra,
Okay. Yep.
so he wanted to do
The
it's
Avatar. Yep.
Bolin. Yeah, it's Bolin, his brother, who one's a earthbender, the other's a fire. So I was Bolin.
Okay.
It was fun. I had no idea who I was. I mean, I watched the show like so.
Yeah.
He told me just act like a bro. I was like, done.
Got you.
I'm your man.
Got you.
So, but it's fun in a group. Right now, all the ones that I kind of think of are with my girlfriend. She was way into cosplay before I was,
Okay.
uh, and she's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
We've been hoping we've been hoping to do Aquaman again, like I said,
Yeah.
Geralt and Iron Man and Rescue.
Okay. That would be nice. Yeah. So
Well, that's kind of what I want to do. So she's gonna kind of do it with
Of,
me.
of course, and that's good that you have a supportive girlfriend. Like my wife supports everything that I do. That's why it's so quiet in my
Yeah.
house. It's like they're tiptoeing
Well,
around.
well, it's fun when you do it together too, because last year at Phoenix Comic Con we were Captain.
You
And
were
then
Captain America
I
and
know
what?
that
You were
Captain Marvel.
oh Captain Marvel. Yeah,
She was Captain Marvel. Yeah, I know canonically they're not a couple.
they should be.
And actually, if you go on Instagram, That's our cosplay page. It's Captain and Captain.
Oh, nice.
And then we also did. She's a huge fan of the Catwoman, the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman.
The best one,
So
in my opinion.
Yeah, we were Batman and Catwoman. Phenomenal.
Very nice. So, if you had a chance to meet your all-time favorite cosplayer, who would it be, and what would you say?
Well, I've met most of like the name cosplayers. Uh, Jessica Negri and I have been David Santiago out of New York, and I love his stuff. Again, I don't really follow a lot of cosplay.
Okay.
I know that may sound bad, but
No, it's
but there's the group I hope to meet is they work actually with us to put on the Cape. They're in Michigan, and their name is
League of
amazing cosplayers.
League of
Enchantment.
Enchantment. Okay.
Enchantment. The
Nice.
guy who started them up is amazing. His story is heartbreaking, but it's a story of redemption. I won't give his story out. This guy's, you can look them up and they tell his story. So he started that group, and then I have friends. I met a lot of the people that I want to meet through Facebook. Jen Greenlee, who's an amazing cosplayer out of the Midwest. I met her. They actually flew here for one day at Amazing Comic, and they made sure they sought me out before they left because they want. Okay.
There you go.
I was like, yeah. So, but yeah, and then I talked to them because we wanted to do something out of our founder of Put on the Cape, Sean Reedy. He's from out there.
Okay.
To coincide with our superheroes, that hooked up with the League of Enchantment. When I saw what they do, I was great people. I hope one day to be able to go there and meet them and hang out with them.
Very nice. That'll be fun. So, have you ever done panels before?
I'm sorry?
Have you ever done panels?
Oh yeah, quite a few. There was when we first started doing Phoenix Comic Con, and they donated a space to us because they generously donated a space to us that they can somebody else. They donated to us every year, so our foundation. And part of the contract was we had to do two to three panels every year.
Okay.
So I've got what we do is the normal panel that we like to do every year called Cosplay for the Cause.
Okay.
So I first year I did it, we did it as a collaborative effort with different groups, and with AZ Power Girl, I'm sure you're familiar with her.
Yep.
Of other cosplayers that donate their time.
Very nice. It's always nice when cosplayers can donate their time to help out an organization like yours, and because a lot of organizations are out there, and a lot of people don't know about them, and it's good to bring the light. Heroes United AZ and Put on the Cape. Organizations are actually doing well to help support everybody. So, do you prefer
the most? I have to say the most fun panel I did was C4 Comic Con a few years back, which is in Ventura, California. Unfortunately, they don't do it anymore. I was able to be on a panel called the Men of Cosplay. They invited me to go, so that was a lot of fun. That was hosted by Ivy Duke, and that was a lot of fun because they found that, and they said that a lot of men in cosplay don't get it.
A lot of men in cosplay don't get a lot of attention. It's true.
Also, a few years back, I was something else fun. I was able to be in a calendar. Also called of cosplay, and I was to be featured in there twice. So it was a lot of fun.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, there's a lot of male cosplayers. The quote unquote myth is that male cosplayers don't get enough attention. Of course, there are male cosplayers out there that I've run into that have made a name for themselves, and it takes a lot of work. And the good thing about your organization that I've read about is you don't care what the size of your body is, you can be a cosplayer, and that's the fun thing. And
we promote body positivity. It's like it doesn't matter, if you're in small or a double XL, we don't care. As long as you have the heart to serve and you have the heart for community, that's what we mostly care about. You could be in a high end store bought costume, or you can be made 100% of it.
Yeah,
It's about
exactly.
serving. We have, and our age range goes from 18 to our oldest member is almost
He's almost what?
60.
60. Whew. That's
Yeah,
nice.
and we don't discriminate about age,
Yeah,
gender, orientation. We don't.
yeah.
As long as you have a heart to serve.
That's good. It's always nice to hear that there are communities out there that are supportive like that. So if you
One of the
had
we're also one of the sorry we're also one of the few groups that do cross genre. We don't limit people to just one specific. So you can
nice,
show up as Batman, whatever.
yeah, as long as you're there to serve and help out, and as long as it's not a risque costume, of course,
That's where we have our
family
limit.
friendly,
Yeah, it's got to be.
family
We
friendly.
try. We like to have more well known characters,
Yes, of
but yeah,
course.
no, it doesn't. We had an event last year where we had Captain and Darth Vader. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but
Hey, you know they're all owned by Disney technically now, so we're all good.
what is it though? What isn't the Disney?
Right. So, if you had the choice between the two, would you prefer to make your cosplay or buy your cosplay?
Depending on what it is.
Yeah.
If it's something that I can, because I admit my skill levels. So if it's something that I know I can take on, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But 60, 70% of the time, I'd rather have somebody else who's skilled do it, because that way, because
Nice.
again, for me,
So it
it's
could look good.
more of the yeah, for me, it's more the hobby of actually going out and doing it. That's the
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. For instance, me, like I'm the eye candy, and my wife is the art. Like she's the like she made this cosplay behind me from
oh nice. You're
yeah.
gonna you're gonna look great in that.
Oh, I know. It's great. No. Uh, but yeah, it's and my daughter's my photographer, so I try
There
to
you
keep in
go.
my family, as well.
Yeah,
But a lot of people like to do that, and they like to say, okay, well, I'm just the person who's going to be the model, and I have a costume designer, I have a photographer, I have this and this and this. So, what is your ultimate dream cosplay? Would you say? Like,
um,
I guess if you
I'd have
like,
to
if you
say,
could fit into it, or if you feel like if I could,
yeah.
you know,
There's actually two of them. Iron Man is one of
yeah,
them. Even though people American Iron Man thing, I don't care. I just love the costume. The other one is Scorpion from Mortal Kombat,
that's a good one.
like the really cool one with the
I
with the
just want
armor.
his abs, and that's it.
Same here.
All right. No, when we were in our 20s, we were, and now when we're in our
Yeah,
30s, 40s, it's kind of slowing down.
gets a little bit more. It gets a little more difficult to
Exactly. But like you said, positivity of your body, and it doesn't matter what you look like
exactly.
as long as you're rocking it, it's all good, right? That's the
Yep,
good thing about it.
exactly.
So if you could tell yourself, like your past self, anything about cosplay, getting like knowing that you've been doing it for the past 10 years, would you have started it early, or like what would you have said to your past self?
Well, I would have loved to start it younger, but the only thing is, when I was in my 20s, it wasn't really
Yeah,
because you remember it. I was
yeah,
in my 20s in the 90s, so
yeah.
they're really.
I think in
I,
the
I
'90s
like to
was
tell
yeah.
I like to tell people that when I was a kid and I was younger, going to cons,
Hmm.
if you wore a costume, you were the weird guy.
Hmm.
Whereas now, if you don't wear a costume, you're the weird guy.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Well, yeah,
you know
going
what
to
I
the
mean?
Renaissance Festival, the more years it's going out, the more people are dressing up, and like you look at normal
Yeah,
people, and you're like, who are you, normal people?
yeah. What's
Yeah.
wrong with you, normie?
Normies. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, the very first time I kind of saw cosplay was back when I lived in New York. I would say it was 290 maybe. It was back then when they referred to them as booth babes.
Okay.
There was a Vampirella, and she was working directly for the comic book for Vampirella. Probably one of the first ones I actually saw.
Yeah.
Because back then it was more dedicated towards comic book companies. Like they would pay to have these costumes made, and
Yeah.
uh, and people would wear them. But then it became probably when like I said, I found it first in the early 2010s. But
Mhm.
I heard it wasn't really a big thing right before that either. It's like about 2009, 2010 is what kind of
Yeah. And then it just bloomed from there. It's just like exploded past the like beyond
yeah.
controls. It's so awesome that you can walk into Joanne's and actually see a cosplayer section, and you're like,
Oh yeah,
whoa, that's
they
cool.
have cosplay fabrics and they have
Yep.
cosplay. Yeah, it's like even now I think Michael's the first one to start carrying um, EVA for exclusively made for cosplay.
Yeah, exactly. So, what was the most difficult cosplay you've done? Where like you're just, maybe it didn't fit right, maybe it was like very uncomfortable, maybe it's just like, wow, I'm never gonna do this one again.
um, I try to keep it comfortable as possible. But I have to say the most fun probably is Batman. But I love doing it because it's a full suit.
Hmm.
I don't know if you ever worn a muscle suit. They're
Nope.
really hot,
Yeah, I bet.
you know, and they're really uncomfortable because it's like you're wearing another body on top of yours. And yeah, I have to say that one. Um, let's see. Also, I don't know. Yeah, I have to say just that one because pretty much all the other ones I tried to keep as low as possible. Or one of the easy. I normally don't use easy costumes. Normally, I need help getting in. For some reason, all
Yeah.
the Captain America costumes I decided to put the zipper on them.
Yeah, I
It
know.
hurt my.
You know, I feel you with the
But
Spider-Man cosplays. It's like, I gotta go
yeah,
to the restroom. Can you unzip me, please?
yeah, yeah. No, and I don't like getting the ones with the zippers, so you can go to the bathroom
Oh
because
no, yeah.
then
Then you got
it
this
has a little
weird,
dangle.
yeah,
Well, it has a little dangly thing. It is just everybody's eye goes right to
yeah,
that.
exactly. It accentuates where you don't want their eyes to be. You're like, I
Yeah,
don't want you looking
exactly.
here. My eyes are up here. Yeah, type of
Now
thing.
that we're
Yeah,
talking about that, anybody who listens to this and is a guy, if you're going to wear a Zentai suit, bodysuit for a costume,
dance belt.
please,
A dance
please,
belt.
for the love of God,
Yeah. No,
for
it's
the
just
love of
like
God and all things
see,
holy,
I never actually realized that. Like I'm like, huh, that's a good idea. That's interesting. I should look into that.
nobody wants to know your religion.
Yeah. No one wants to know your religion. Very nice. So, in your opinion, what makes um, cosplayer a pro cosplayer? Would you say?
Uh, well, people designate themselves as pro cosplayers. I don't really preference. I say anybody who does it is a cosplayer.
Yeah.
Whether it's for fun or whether it's for profit. I have to admire the ones that have made a career out of it. That's amazing
Yeah.
because they're doing something they love. They're making money off of.
Yeah. You look at Justin
I'm like,
Niggery's work. It's just like, whoa, wow.
well, she's kind of. I kind of consider her the apex because she made it big. That's when it just became huge.
Yeah.
People like her and Yaya Han, who has her own
Yep. Hmm.
stores and all that. Her patterns are even in Walmart, so that's pretty huge. So
Yeah.
people like that who've been able to make it themselves,
Yeah.
those are professional. But again, there's people who make a profit off of it, but they're not, so they can be considered professional. I
Yeah.
just consider everybody to be the same. They're just higher skill level. People can turn a profit. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not one to what they call player hate. It's like,
Of
good
course,
for
yeah.
you.
Hey, you've got it flaunted. You got the talent. Show it. That's why I like with the cons over at the conventions. They have the masquerade levels. They have
Right.
novice. journeyman, and masters. And so,
Exactly.
in my opinion, and if you're competing into a master's program, your cosplay is so pro that you can compete in the masters division, then wow, like that is an
Yeah.
amazing cosplay. Whereas, like, yeah, the novice act, I've seen novice cosplayers. You're like, wow, you're a
Well,
novice.
yeah, I've hosted costume contests where the judges see somebody who's made their first costume and they're like, no, you're going up a category.
Yeah, you're too good for novice.
It's not
Don't be
even
lying.
fair.
Yes, you win hands down. Don't worry. That's why, with the Doctor Strange cosplay, if or when it does get finished, because if my wife makes stuff like this, I know that the Doctor Strange outfit is gonna be like phenomenal, and so I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not taking this novice. That would be unfair.
No, well, I bought a sewing machine, which I don't have anymore because I bought it to learn how to sew.
Mm-hmm.
When I realized I didn't even know how to thread a bobbin, I was like,
oh yeah, no, I've sewed my hand before. I can't do that. I was in home ec class in the '90s when it was still in school, and we had to make pants, and I had one leg longer than the other, and I was trying to fix it, and I went whoa, and I was the only kid who sewed his hand, and they're like, how? I'm like, I don't know.
I admire people. When I see them, and they're just like running through it. I'm like,
yeah, you're like, I'm slow. Yeah. So, like, what is your favorite part of cosplay? Would you say?
For me, it's the smiles that you can bring to people, and the community that you feel with others. I know there's a huge community of it. I mean, when I first started, it was probably a couple of hundred people. Now it's tens of thousands of people, and so it's kind of, you find your group. How can I put it? You don't feel like an outsider when you're with groups, because a lot of I like to say that I have a foot in both types of world, because back years ago, I've been everything from a professional wrestler, I'm a local or independent, and I was a football player in high school. I was a jock.
So what school did you go to?
Also, in Brooklyn, Samuel J. Tilden High School.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're from New York. That's right. Yeah.
I've only been here in Arizona years, so.
Oh, okay.
But so I kind of was, but I also comic books, all that. So it's kind of like I wasn't the stereotype.
Okay.
At all. So I've kind of met people that I don't have a lot of family. No tears, but I don't have a lot of family. But here I came to meet people that have become like, we have so much.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of like the camaraderie, but also smiles to a lot of people, because we don't realize that even if you're just going to the convention, you have people who are the casual. It brings a lot of joy to see it in their face.
Yeah, exactly. So during this whole pandemic and this quarantine time, what do you think is one of your biggest stresses of like not being able to go out and do your charity work and not being able to, participate?
The biggest stresses are not getting our funding, the recognition or support it needs. It's been hard for us because of our donations. For example, the 5K. So in order for us to be able to use advocacy, we haven't been able to get our brand, which is only, it's been hard. That also, my quarantine 20 that I put on that I can't, there was no gyms that have been open. They just opened recently.
I think I'm on my quarantine 30 now. Those gyms need to open back up a little bit. But
I need to fit back in my costume by September.
Exactly. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes well, and we still can do, Phoenix Fan Fusion, and there's also Sabaton Con in September as well. That's still,
Oh, I'm more concerned about our superhero September.
of course, your
To be honest with
superhero September,
you.
yeah, of course. And then, of course, you know, people always say that, oh, we can do an at-home uh, convention. Now, what's your opinion about the at-home conventions? What do you think about those?
I mean, it's fun to do interact with like, celebrity guests and all that.
Mm.
Somebody just came up with an app where I like to call it rent a celebrity because you can have them send a message to your
Oh,
friends
you're
and all
talking
that.
about
And
Cameo or something?
that's the one. But for people who can't afford $500 for a 2-minute video, yeah, some of them are going up to $500
Yeah,
just for them to do like a hello video or a happy birthday.
yeah. It's like
Uh,
happy birthday.
I don't, I think it takes away from the interaction. You know, the
Yeah,
whole. Because there's a different kind of energy. You're actually there in person.
yeah.
You feel a different vibe. I think it's the.
No, I get you with that because when my daughter got to meet a Harry Potter character, I'm drawing a blank of the guy Matthew Lewis. He played Neville Longbottom.
Is that Malfoy? Oh,
Is
okay, okay.
Neville Longbottom. He was over at, I believe it was Fan Fusion or possibly Game On Expo. I'm not too sure. And probably Fan Fusion. And we really wanted to go see another celebrity, but his line was, out the door basically. And so, Matthew Lewis, hey, it wasn't so bad of a line. And I was like, okay, well, let's go over here. He's a Harry Potter guy. She got a selfie with him. Cost me about like $200, of course. But yeah, I was like, well, it's like you said, smiles. It was,
Yeah,
I was the cool dad at that moment.
yeah. My favorite celebrity interaction on the con, Paul Rucker.
Okay.
He was amazing. He was amazing to my kids. My oldest daughter loved him on The Walking Dead as much.
Yep.
And she walked up with a friend of ours who was standing in line, and she had the pop figure. And he stood there. And he goes, "You gonna get that autograph?" She goes, "I don't have the money."
Yeah.
So he grabbed it out of her, signed it. He goes, "Now I'll give this back to you. This is a great story." He goes, "I'll give this back to you on one. If you're ever a cop that pulls me over, and I've had one too many, you're gonna let me go."
That's funny.
I thought that was hilarious. And also that same year, I don't know if you went to Phoenix Comic that year. It was
Yeah.
Mohawk,
Mohawk.
and it was right after he had just played Yondu,
Okay.
and he came up to he was there at his booth, and on Sunday, as everybody was breaking down and all the celebrities had left,
Mm-hmm.
and he was still signing autographs. He wasn't charging. He was still signing autographs. He was still meeting people, and I went over to him, and he came out from behind his table and hung out with us. And my daughter had met him 1 year before that, and then that year. And then I told him, "Hey, I'm sorry, my daughter's been stalking." He looks at her, he goes, "You again?" He goes, "You again?" And he grabs her, puts her like in a headlock, and gives her a noogie. And
Yeah.
and literally, as we were walking away, I looked back, and my daughter's got ugly cry face on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "You
what?
okay?" She
You
goes,
okay?
"He was just so nice." She was so overwhelmed. You would have thought she had just met Justin Bieber.
Yeah, exactly.
How overwhelmed she was.
Yeah.
So he was my favorite interaction. Now I normally don't get being born and raised in New York. He's all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. You see them all through the streets.
Yeah, you see filming movies there, everything. So my biggest like jaw dropping moment where I was Jason Momoa.
Oh, Aquaman. Yep.
Yeah, he actually, to tell you how cool he is, he was supposed to be at Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but he showed up early on Thursday.
Okay.
And he was in his hotel room because I know that his handling part. She goes, he was in his hotel room. He calls over to the con. Says, "Hey, I'm here, and I just come down now and just hang out."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay, we'll send security over to help him over." By the time they got to his hotel room, he had already walked over. And he walked around by himself, and then he went over to his table. He found his table and sat there, and he was just like, "All right."
Sure.
And he was just just hanging out, and my daughters didn't believe how, because they'd seen me.
Yeah.
Don't get whooped, but I
You
saw
don't
him
you
and I was
don't
like,
fanboy
wow.
very often.
Oh yeah, big time. And the only other time I fanboyed, and this is gonna sound stupid, I don't know if you know who Sergio Aragonese is.
No.
If you're a fan of Mad Magazine,
Oh
on
yes.
the little, you know when you see on the little sides, there's like these cartoons.
Yes.
He drew those forever, and then he also had a comic book back in the early '90s, Gru the Wanderer,
Yep. Grew the
kind of like a spoof on Gru the Wanderer. He was kind of like a spoof on. I read that my whole childhood, my whole.
So yeah.
So when I saw him, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And my
Exactly.
buddy that was my buddy that was with me, that's in his 20s, like, I don't even know who that is. I'm like, how dare you? So I've had a few encounters that were cool. The coolest one, it was okay for me, but it was cool for everybody else.
Yeah.
My daughter, who's a huge fan of Supernatural.
Okay.
I was at a con where I was with one of the ghost facers, the guy that was also in Eurotrip.
Yeah.
Eurotrip.
Hmm.
He's one of the ghost facers on Supernatural.
Okay.
He was he was a guest. I was a guest. It was at C4, and we were a guest, and we just hung out. We started talking, and I called my daughter, and he talked to her on the phone, and he did the whole ghost facers intro.
Yeah.
If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. The whole
Yeah.
little
Again.
thing.
Again. Yeah.
When I cut the phone back, she goes, "You're the coolest."
You're the coolest dad ever. Yeah. Of course.
And then at that same con, I got to hang out with Evan Sorbo,
Okay. Yep.
Hercules,
Hercules. Yep.
and then he was really cool. And it was so funny because I was married at the time to my second wife. I took a selfie with him, and she was a huge Hercules fan. She didn't get to go with me. I took a selfie with him, and she had just messaged me and goes, I love you. And I sent her the picture of me with Evan Sorbo,
Yeah.
and she goes, you suck.
You suck. Yeah, it's like exactly. It's when you meet famous people and like your family's not with you and they're like, oh man, why wasn't I invited you?
Yeah, though, and it was cool. That same con, they had a private party for all the con at this
exactly
bar, this local bar, and my friend Johnny, who's a huge Power Ranger fan and didn't get to go either. I sent him a video. It's me and the guy from Supernatural and about 10 different Power Rangers from all the different shows in this bar, and they're singing, and they took over the stage and were performing and all that. And he was just, yeah. And I actually, that same con, I got Rocky from the second Power Rangers.
Okay, yeah.
Steve Cardenas.
Yep.
To send him a message, and he was like, you so hard right now.
Right.
I was like, hey, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
So
I had a lot of cool, fun experiences.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you are in the cosplay community, you get to have a lot of fun experiences because I've been part of Johnny's karaoke times over at the cons over at Savagin Con and everything, or Fan Fusion. Yeah, it's fun. It's hilarious. You get to have fun. I don't know if there's anybody in the chat really. There's a few viewers, but if any of you have questions for Gus, feel free to type them into the chat. But with the whole quarantine thing, hopefully we get off this whole thing. Of course, and I understand it's for our own safety. We have to wear masks in a lot of the Arizona cities. It's making a lot of people stir crazy in a sense, and with cosplayers not being able to show off their outfits, it's kind of just frustrating. Or like you said, putting on your quarantine 20s. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's been kind of mind numbing, I guess, because there's only so much Netflix you can watch.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Well, I'm fortunate where I'm working all the time, so it's just like I get back from work and I'm back here and doing other things, so I'm always busy. But yeah, I have a couple of friends who don't have work at all, and they're just sitting around going, "I've seen the whole catalog of Netflix. I swear."
Yeah. Well, I've been working. I've been fortunate enough that my job is from home, um, and I work for a healthcare company.
Yeah.
So I'm able to work from home, and the great part is that it's gotten to the where they are leaving us working from home because they want to try to staff down a lot of the buildings so that way
Yeah.
there's not a lot of people even after this.
Yeah, even after this. It's going to be a new normal.
Unfortunately, what a lot of people are realizing that the coronavirus is something we're going to have to adapt because it's going to be part of our life for a very long time. And if, hopefully, because the whole vaccine, when they were talking about it, being in the healthcare and my girlfriend being a pharmacy, we both, when we heard it, we were like, that's going to take about
year, 2 years, yeah.
You don't create a vaccine.
No.
So, for at least the next year and a half, to be able to adapt and try to get through this. And again, people wearing masks don't realize that it's for the safety of others. It's not just the safety of others that you're surrounded with at that moment.
Well, if you look at Japan or China, like in Japan or China, they wear a mask not because they want to protect other people. If they're sick or even if they feel like a little cough, they're putting on a mask in China or Japan.
Well, even before coronavirus, a lot of the people in other countries, what they do is even if they have the flu or they have a cold,
they put a mask.
Yeah, and it's to protect other people. It's not it's not for their own benefit; it's for others.
Yeah.
Because the simple fact of the matter is we got to look out for each other. And again, it may be something that your political view or about that. People are it's a conspiracy. They want to control us. Control you for what? It's playing a mask. There's no control over you.
Trust me, if they wanted to control us, they would.
Yeah, it's like when people say that, it goes, "Oh, that's how they get you." So who gets?
Yeah.
Who's they?
The who? Yeah.
There's
Exactly.
If you think there's a clandestine organization trying to take you over, you need to stop watching movies.
It's like gotta relax a little bit. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your time. It's been a fun conversation with you, and I'm glad that we are able to bring a little bit more light to Heroes United AZ and put on the cape. Now, anything you want to say before we end this the convo?
Well, I just want to thank you for your time, and anybody who's listening out there or anybody who watches this video, if you're when you put it up, go to putonthecape.org. You can still take part of our 5K. If you just want to drop a donation, that's fine. See what we're about and see what we're doing. As far as our social media goes, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, it's Heroes United AZ, and Put on the Cape. That's all of our social media. We even have a TikTok now because that's a big thing.
I'm horrible at making TikToks. I do not know how.
If you want to see me on TikTok, be silly. It's at Captain America AZ. I actually have fun with it. People are trying to strive to get 1 million followers. I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
And we'll make sure we put the links down on the YouTube channel when we publish this video. We'll put all of your social links and everything. Thank you again for joining.
We have a YouTube also.
Oh, you have a YouTube as well. Oh, there, very nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Put on the Cape, Heroes United. Yeah, we have a YouTube.
Well, thank you again, Gus. I appreciate your time. Thanks for hanging out, and good luck with your future endeavors with your charities.
And if I could say one last thing, no matter what your skill level is, if you're brand new, just have fun. The name of it is Cosplay. It's just about having fun. It's it's not that serious.
Well, thank you again for your time.
All right, thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.